We are fast approaching the release of FIFA 23. It's expected to be somewhere between September and October, which is normally the release date. And as we get closer and closer, there's more and more features that fans would like to see. Today, we're going to be going through some of those features, but these are features that must be added to the game because there have been problems within FIFA 22. Before we do get into the video, if you're looking to get some very easy coins, then there is no better place than Mule Factory. Head over there to get yourself some cheap, fast FIFA 22 coins, completely reliable, and if you use Fnatic5 at checkout, you'll also get yourself a 5% discount. Link can be found in the description down below. Getting back into the video, as these are features that must be added to FIFA 23 because of issues that we've had within FIFA 22, they're not too major. We're not asking for a complete revamp of the whole of Ultimate Team with chemistry systems, different types of position modifiers that can be added to the game, or a complete revamp to any of the game modes. These are slight changes which will make the current game modes that we have just a bit better. And on EA's side of things, these are easy to implement. It shouldn't really take too long. It really shouldn't be too difficult. In fact, for some of them, they could have probably made these changes within FIFA 22. But here we are coming towards the end. It's probably way too late now for them to make any major changes. So here it goes on to FIFA 23. So the first one is to have a draw rage quit count as a win. Can't believe we're in FIFA 22 going into FIFA 23 and there still isn't a change. This has been a complaint for years and it's quite simple to do. Already within game, if you're 1-0 up and your opponent decides to rage quit, you will get the win. Now, if you were drawing with your opponent and they quit, that game doesn't count. Well, not in a way that you want it to count. You will still get coins at the end of the game. It will be an extra match on your players. It will even take away their contracts. But when looking at the game mode, being division rivals, foot champions, or even foot draft, it's not counted. You do not progress forward. You stay in the exact same position and that game that you just played didn't count. And this is incredibly frustrating. You could be in a game all the way up until the 89th minute for it to be 1-1. You can get a penalty, your opponent rage quits, and that game doesn't count for you. Even though you have a goal scoring opportunity one-on-one with the keeper, and it's likely that you're going to score. Not only should you be gifted a win, but your opponent should have a timeout for when they can next go into a game, as a deterrent for them rage quitting in every single game. Of course, there's a difference between a disconnect and a rage quit, but if you're blatantly turning off your Xbox, turning off your PlayStation, or even just dashboarding, closing down the game, whatever it is, they should be punished. There should be a timeout for that because it just wastes everyone's time involved and the game, because it just wastes everyone's time involved and they know exactly what they're doing. The second change, draws in general are pointless, especially within division rivals. With this year's division rivals, if you draw a game, it pretty much acts as a loss. Depending where you are within your season, a loss is exactly the same as a draw. What I mean by this is if you did just manage to reach a checkpoint, you are right there. If you lose the next game, you can't go any further back because you've just reached the checkpoint. So you stay in that position, but you do lose your winning streak. If you draw, well, you're not pushing forward and you're also not going backwards. So you stay where you are, but you also lose your winning streak. This shouldn't be the way it is. I really don't understand why we can't just have a division rivals in a very similar layout to what we have, but we also have it based on a point system. Not just a point of whether or not you win or lose a game, but if you win a game, you get 3 points. If you draw a game, you get 1 point. If you lose a game, you end up losing points. And instead of having division rivals laid out in a way where you need to reach the next checkpoint by just having a certain amount of wins in a row, you will have to reach the next checkpoint by getting a certain amount of points. And it's weird because the point system is part of foot champions. Now you don't have negative points because if you lose a game, you get 1 point, and if you win a game, you get 4 points. And there is no way in which you can draw a game within foot champions. So it's weird to have a ranking system which is based on how many wins you can get to then go into a competitive game mode and it be based on points where you are still rewarded for losing games. There's just no consistency. We should have a point-based system across division rivals and FUT champions. And it doesn't need to be anything fancy, 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, minus 3 points for a loss. That's really all it needs to be. Whilst we're on the subject of division rivals, there should also be another change, and this is removing game limits. Now you can go and play as many games as you want within division rivals, but based on the reward system, there is a limit. To get your weekly reward, you need to play a minimum of 4 games, but there is a second tier to this where if you do go and play 8 games. Now the only real reason for you to carry on playing through division rivals after you win 8 games in a row is if you're still progressing through the divisions. If you just started this game and you're a confident player, you have played FIFA before, you're starting in Division 10, winning 8 games within a row is pretty easy, and it's likely that you'll be able to carry on progressing through these divisions as if they're nothing. And it's worth you doing that because you are continuously grinding and pushing up through the ranks so that you will be able to get a better reward, as the division rivals rewards are better within Division 1 as what they are in Division 10. The requirements are still the same, you still need to win 4 games or 8 games, but it is a better reward at the end of the week. Let's say you're a Division 3 player and that's the right division for you, as in you win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game, and you're not progressing through divisions, but you are able to get wins every now and then, which does mean that you're able to win those 4 games to get your weekly reward, or those 8 games. After you win your 8 games, there's no point playing. You can't progress through the divisions any further, as that is the division that you belong in, so you can't get a better reward, even though you are still able to win a fair few amount of games within that division. The only reason to carry on, and this is also another limit, is for your seasonal milestones. This is playing 90 games within a season, and if you are able to complete that quite easily, then it's also another reason for you to stop playing and move on to another game mode. And the game modes that you have are friendlies, which don't give you any rewards, squad battles, which are pretty boring to play against the AI, or FUT champions, which is only available certain times of the week, especially if you have already gone through your champions playoffs. I just think that there should be more tiers based on how many games you play per week, and it not just being limited to 8. There's 1 game per day, and for quite a lot of players, they're able to accomplish that. Still keep those tiers within the game, because there's of course people that can only do an hour or 2 per week, but add more tiers on top for those that do play a lot longer. And the last change that players have wanted to see this year is to remove the limit of champions playoffs. Yet again, if you're a confident player and you're able to go through this and easily qualify, this makes no difference to you. You can still do that. But for those who aren't as confident, there is a limit to how many times you can go through the champions playoffs to qualify for FUT champions. There shouldn't be this limit. Players who aren't as good should still have the right to go through and attempt it, even if it does mean that they lose all their matches and go all the way back into division rivals and have to build up their qualification points again. Remember, going through division rivals, once you get to a certain point, it's pointless. And if we're capping how many times a player can go through the champions playoffs, if they're playing a lot of games and they really want to do it, but they're just not that good, but they love playing the game, we've limited them. They're now no longer able to go for the champions playoffs. They don't have a chance to qualify for FUT champions for the whole season and are stuck to division rivals, which has a limiting reward system. I believe that they put a limit on this game mode is because they didn't want the very best players going through the champions playoffs, easily winning every game, qualifying for FUT champions, completing FUT champions that weekend, and after doing FUT champions within a day, they immediately just go all the way back to the champions playoffs to yet again qualify for the very next day. We know some players have the ability to do this, and of course there's quite a few out there that have the time. They could easily complete 3 to 4 weekend leagues within 1 weekend if they were dedicated enough to do it. It would be one stressful weekend for the average player, but bear in mind, these are good players. So they're also going to be able to get good rewards. They just need to dedicate the time. And I think this is the reason that they put this limit in. But in all honesty, if there's a player that wants to go through 3 to 4 weekend leagues in just 1 weekend, with there being 60 to 80 games, whether they're going to rage quit them all or they're going to play through all of them, I say let them do it. That is an insane amount of dedication just to be going through Ultimate Team. And I think at the end of the day, that can only be a benefit for EA. Plus also, it's likely that the person doing this is a content creator, maybe a streamer. So hey, it'll also lead to some very good content. And all of this is happening whilst still letting those that aren't as comfortable but just still want to go and play this game and actually want to be competitive in this game in an attempt to potentially get better, while still being able to get some of the best rewards on offer within FUT Champions. Anyway guys, these are some of the changes players would like to see within FIFA 23. These are not massive changes in the grand scheme of things, but these are changes that if we're going to be having a very similar system to what FIFA 22 has, which is likely to happen, some small slight changes which will make it much better. These are changes that would benefit every single player, no matter whether or not you're a pro player who's absolutely amazing at this game, or whether or not you're just someone starting out for the very first time. If I've missed any other features or changes off this list that you would like to see, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.